Welcome non-dead, dead, and undead creatures. No idea what subject we'll be tackling on this thunderous day, even though I'm pretty sure the title already gave it away. Well, let's not make your curious little thoughts marinate much longer. The topic of today's discussion is obviously the delightful little pandemic that's currently sweeping through our beloved, albeit stinky, ghouls population with a level of media evasion that is for sure making one certain goblin politician proud in Ectacity. For me personally, it's like watching a group of particularly skittish pixies trying to discuss the finer points of a bloodhound's dental troubles. Everyone knows what the problem is, but no one wants to say it. But Aideen? Aideen isn't here to coddle anybody's delicate appendages. So let's address the festering ogre in the room, shall we? The reason our ghoul population is currently dropping like a unicorn in an anti-magic playground, the reason the vast majority of them are looking a bit greener than usual these days, and not in the healthy, moss-covered forest spirit way, is quite simple, and also pretty much inescapable. Cadavers. That's right, dead people. All right, before you clutch your magic pouches or reach for the smelling salts, unless you're a ghost hunter, in which case please go ahead and be generous sprinkling such expensive ingredients for the collection of us less financially fortunate, let's get the basics down for those of you that have been living in a rather secluded tower and don't know the ins and outs of the ghoul lifestyle. Ghouls protect their rotting hearts, have a very particular diet. And no, it's not a preference, nor is it a choice. It's just what they were created to eat. And what they eat is flesh that is past its prime. Well past its prime. Fresh stuff doesn't sit right. It's too lively. Or maybe, should I say, too alive? Well, whatever. For the imagery, it's like trying to feed a dragon a vegetable salad. It just does not work. Their digestive systems are built for the decomposition process, for breaking down what's already been breaking down. It's their niche in the grand macabre tapestry of life and undeath. In short, where do ghouls get their specific sustenance from? Like I said before, this one's for you all skip-ahead lovers. From cadavers. From the dearly departed, the long-time deceased, the lovingly, or not so lovingly, interred. It's been this way since the beginning of time. It could be considered a symbiotic relationship, if you really, really think about it. We die, they eat. Circle of unlife, beloved fiends. But here's the jinx, the hex, the putrid toad in the potion. Our human, and sometimes even paranormal, cadavers these days are increasingly compromised. You see, for a long time, the biggest concern for ghouls was just finding enough bodies. With declining mortality rates, damn those annoying medical advancements, and more efficient burial and increasing cremation practices, it's been a lean few centuries for our subterranean scavengers. They've had to get creative, developing foraging instincts to die for. But now, it's so much worse than a mere food shortage. Now, their very food source is making them sick, terminal even in some cases. The ghoul endemic, as I've so unimaginatively dubbed it, isn't some mysterious ghoul-specific illness like the media have been claiming. No, what it is a direct consequence of the various delightfully deadly ailments that currently sweep through the living populations. All those lovely little viruses, bacteria, and general nasties that put us in the ground, some are still there, lingering behind post our death, turning what should be a nourishing meal for those that feed off corpses into a cursed banquet. And what can they do about it? This is where my witchy brain genuinely goes poof. Yes, just like my most recent attempt at creating the perfect carnivorous rose confidant. It's not a matter of sourcing better ingredients, is it? It's not like they can pop down to the local supernatural butcher and ask for a free-range, organic, ethically deceased humanoid's liver. They eat what's available, and what's available is increasingly inedible. The media, of course, won't stop the folk dance around the topic. You'll hear brief mentions of an increased decline in ghoul populations, or contagious illnesses affecting the subterranean communities, perhaps due to the changes in seasons. There might be a sympathetic piece buried somewhere under more palatable subjects about a certain paranormal species' struggle for survival. I, for one, wouldn't know. It might just be buried deeper than even the most desperate ghoul is willing to dig. But will anyone come out and say, "Hey everyone, the human cadavers are making the ghouls sick because we keep dying of random contagions"? Of course not. That would be far too incriminating toward the worsening sedentary lifestyle of today's society. Can you imagine the headlines? Human remains, a biotoxin for beyond lifers. How absolutely horrifying. Are our dead bodies not good enough anymore? It's an entire racial tangle no one wants to touch with a 10-foot wand. And frankly, Aideen doesn't blame them for the squeamishness. But someone has to acknowledge the reality of the situation. No, don't thank me. I simply live to steer a good old cauldron of brewing disaster. This is a crisis of gut-numbing proportions for them. It's like a human being told they can only eat spoiled, moldy bread, and if they don't, they starve. But if they do, they get violently ill. It's a lose-lose, a classic no-win scenario straight out of a particularly grim fairy tale. The type humans would tell their children about non-humans to keep them in check, unsuccessfully, while we would expose their murderous cruelty toward our own offsprings in an attempt to ensure the survival of our individual species. But, leaving our historical differences aside, you know who's just waddling along, happily dragging their limbs through all of this? Our beloved zombies, of course. Oh, the blissful, brain-munching fiends. They ought to be counting their blessings as we speak. While ghouls are quite literally dying from their dietary restrictions, zombies have enjoyed a remarkable degree of flexibility. Think about it. Brains are brains, mostly. While human brains are, no doubt, the preferred gourmet option for the discerning zombie palate, they can make do. Dog brains? Fine. Raccoon brains? A bit gamey, but manageable. Deer brains? A feast if you catch them during hunting season. They're diversifying. They're adapting. Isn't this akin to a big middle finger to the poor ghouls from Mother Nature herself? Good for them, though. I'm not going to begrudge a zombie their choice of gray matter, though I can't help but grumble about it whenever I recall how one recently snacked on my pretty Gertrude. She may have been just a hen for most, but her knack for getting the juiciest gossip was simply out of this world. Here are our ghouls, facing an existential level crisis because they're too specialized in their decompositional dining. And there are the zombies, joyfully gnawing on whatever critter crosses their path, dodging the pandemic arrow, or rather the illness-ridden cadaver arrow, entirely. It's almost unfair. Almost. Can we even attempt to solve this? What's the magical fix? A universal cleansing spell for all cadavers before they're laid to decompose? Imagine the paperwork, the interspecies negotiations, the health code violations. Excuse me, Madam Ghoul, but this cadaver has not been properly devirused and sanitized from environmental pollution according to Section 36B of the Supernatural Food Safety Act of 3905 PISPT. It's an international, decade-spanning administrative nightmare waiting to happen. Maybe we could breed a new, super resilient strain of cadaver-eating ghoul? One with an immune system stronger than a dragon's hide and a stomach lining made of pure crystalline? Sounds like a job for some very bored necromancers with way too much time on their hands and a rather questionable grasp of ethics. Allow me to be even more honest. I'm already dealing with enough questionable ethics in my daily life. My Coven Leader won't stop side-eyeing me every time we are in sight distance from each other. But I digress. So, rounding back to the original topic, the truth is, this isn't just a ghoul problem. It's more evidence of the intricate, often messy, interconnectedness of all beings in our world. What affects one species, one aspect of our ecosystem, yes, even the one involving decaying flesh, eventually ripples out. It's a reminder that even the most seemingly isolated creatures are part of a larger whole, and sometimes that whole is a bit rotten with various diseases. So, while the talking heads on the Paranormal News Network fret over whether sharing Yetis for winter clothing is a form of animal cruelty, or the incessant Feyland disputes, I am here drawing attention to the very real, very existence-threatening plight of our ghoul neighbors, who are facing this situation simply because they are what they eat, and what they eat is making them sick. What do you think, cursed fiends? Is there actually a solution here that doesn't involve some truly horrifying magical experimentation, or a global shift in funerary practices that would make even the most progressive rite master faint? Or are ghouls, in their unique, gruesome way, simply a tragic casualty of our modern germ-ridden existence? Let me know in the comments below. Even if your suggestions are as outlandish as the idea of a vegetarian dragon. Aideen is all ears, and maybe just a little bit hungry for non-contaminated gossip. This was Aideen's segment, Alternate News Coverage. Why our local ghoul friends are literally dying from hunger, and those abroad might soon too. Until next time, beloved fiends.